sideways, boys in the days. Sleeping sideways, boys in the days. Sleeping sideways, boys in the days. On a Sunday night, I might bring me some mail.
Okay, welcome to the Side Show. This is the Edward episode. How you going, bro?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
No worries, man. Happy to have creators from Perth in and amongst the scene doing their thing. So we'll start before we were talking about your breakdancing thing. So I've heard a lot about that through friends. How did you start that and what age were you?
I was probably 16, 17, and I was hell into my heavy metal shit then.
Oh, really?
And there was this girl that I was trying to impress, this Canadian girl. She introduced me to hip-hop. So she's like, I'll listen to hip-hop. I'm like, what's hip-hop? And then, she took me into her world. It's like, holy shit, this is dope. And the time that I saw like Run DMC video clip, and it was video clip, it's like that, you know, like when they're battling.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I want to do that. I want to impress her. So I was like looking around. I told her, hey, I want to learn how to break dance, trying to be cool. And she's like, actually, you know what I found out? At the store, there was a flyer. So I picked it up, and then it was a breakdance workshop.
Yeah.
So I went there, and I saw this dude from Germany busting this move called air flares, which I still cannot do till now. I still can't do it.
Can you explain what that is? Just
Air flares is like, you know, the gymnasts when they do flares, Thomas flares on the pommel horse with their legs open, and they're kind of swinging with the legs up in the air and going from one hand to another.
Yeah.
So air flares is kind of like that, but up in the air, 45 degrees angle where your head's down and your legs up in the air.
Oh, okay.
So you're doing that, but up in the air. So
is
it's
that
kind of
with
like
no hands?
with your hands still. So you kind of like,
okay.
you're pushing your hands like, you know, it's like thinking upside down handstand, but you kind of like launching yourself around in a circular
Actually,
motion.
I can picture that, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's hard to describe without seeing it. So I saw this dude from Germany doing it. I'm like, holy shit. And he was like, yeah, I've been breaking for 6 years. In my head, in 6 years, I can be like him. That was like my goal. So anyway, so I started training and trying to impress the girls. Like, oh yeah, I started doing breakdancing now. And got into hip-hop. And after that, I was just like, hip-hop just took it. Yeah. I was so immersed into the world.
Forgot about the girl.
I've even forgot about it. We became friends after that, right? But just kind of like, I don't even care about her. Just like, man, I'm so obsessed with this hip-hop, with this breaking thing. You know, try to rap and try to do everything, trying to do a bit of graffiti and DJ. But I just so like focused on dancing. And that's like, all my focus was that. And at the time, because everyone has their own like street name, like dance name.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, oh, I want to rap and also dance. And then my name's Edward, and I was like, word is diction. So I was like, hey, addiction is kind of cool. Yeah, it could cool like as an MC name. And then after a while, after a couple of years, everyone's getting these name buckles, you know, like where you can put on your belt, like with your name on it. But addiction was too long, one letter too long. I was like, fuck. Like the max is 8 letters, and it's like 9 letters. I'm like, shit, I need to change my name. I need this name buckle. And then my teacher, and who became my best friend after, Benny was like, yo, Edit. Just shouted that name out of the blue. I'm like, what? Like, Edit. I'm going to call you Edit from now on. I'm like, what? Because I used to like play around in a corner, like playing with moves and editing the moves, if you like. So I was like, man, that's pretty sick. And it can fit the name, like the belt buckle. So I changed my name from Addiction to Edit. And since then, no one else had like the name Edit. Even now, I'm like the only Edit in the dance world. You know, it's kind of crazy.
It's such a sick
it's a sick name.
Where did this start? Like what?
So this was started in Perth.
Yeah.
And we used to dance at in Forest Chase. There used to be a bridge that goes across, and we used to train there every Saturday on the street, really.
Oh, really?
Until we get kicked out, and the cops would kick us out, and then we just walk around and come back again and start training there again. And then later on, we moved into Central Park, also on Murray and William Street. And then we had a massive battle, and then attracted like hundreds of people, and then the cops security kicked us out, so we can't dance there anymore. So we went back to the bridge, and after that we just started dancing in front of Myers, in the studio. As you get older, you just kind of stick in the studio. It's safer that way because you don't get a lot of.
But it's dope they took it to the street straight away.
Oh man, that's like the best place to kind of learn it. You know, it's free, so we just invite people. Hey, if they want to learn, it's kind of like when if you're a skater, kind of like you just kind of join in and that's what we did. And just kind of like start from the outside of the circle, and you go in, you work your way in as you get better.
And how did you meet those guys?
Literally just going
just
from the flyers. It was like, hey, where do you train? I train on the streets here, here. And I just following these guys around. and then like introducing myself to everyone, just kind of become part of the community. After a while, you keep rocking up, and they start to know your face, know your name. As you get better, your ranks kind of like your street credit goes up. It's like, and that's kind of cool after a while. And I started doing that, and then winning a lot of competitions here and there. And then I was sponsored by Red Bull, won Australia's championship.
Oh, that's
and
dope.
then I was like representing for a good 3 years maybe. And after I just started judging with Red Bull. But after a while, just kind of like you want new challenge, and that's how I started to get into fashion. I was like, hey, I want to start a shop.
Yeah.
We at the time already had a brand anyway. It's called All Race, and I would just like a brand that I used to print T-shirts for my homies, and like it became something. Hey, I like doing this, and my friends wearing my shit, so I started the brand All Race with my other good friend.
So did you? Because I think you started that back in 2009.
2009, yeah. At the time, there was only probably like 3 or 4 streetwear brands out of Perth.
Yeah.
It was us, Gifted, Casey Wonder, and you got Buttergood's been around for a while, and then Highs and Lows was kind of doing their in-house brand as well.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of brands. There's probably several other brands as well, but definitely probably like 4 or 5 brands are kind of circulating Perth scene at the time.
Yeah, and where were your when you first started? Did you just do it through online, or did you go into stores?
No, there was no online. Online was there, but it wasn't as big as it is now.
Yeah.
So like there was no social media. It was just like you trying to get into stores, because we were so inspired by the Hundreds, the story of the Hundreds, and Johnny Cupcake. You know how like Johnny Cupcake went around US just kind of like handing out samples and like and making fake phone calls like, hey, have you got the new Cupcake T-shirts? And you probably heard the story, and then the store's like, what is this Johnny Cupcake? And they end up picking up the brand, and that's kind of like, it's like, man, that's a good hustle, we got to do that shit, and me and my friend started doing around Perth, and we got a few accounts. We got I think 3 or 4 accounts, but it's still at the time still a hobby. It wasn't a proper brand. Even now we're still kind of just doing it for fun. We don't like when so many people wearing it, and it's kind of like a weird thing for me. It's like, man, maybe I should really take a proper business class, because like for me it's like I want to wear my brand, but at the same time I don't want anyone else wearing it, but that's bad business.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It's like
and it's hard in Perth, because Perth's such a small community that it's easy to flood it.
It's so easy to flood it. I don't want, like, especially in Perth, I'm seeing 3 or 4 brands in circulation. That's why for me it's kind of like, do I want to produce 100, make money, or just produce 20? And we went with the 20 option, and just kind of like, because I just want small group of people wearing it. I don't want going out and I see 3 guys wearing the same T-shirts.
That's
just
right.
kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of like how I envision it. But now probably like the best way for us probably is starting to trying to target globally rather than just Australia wide.
Yeah.
Because I think there's big opportunities there. You can sell into just the right boutiques or the right accounts rather than mass saturate the market.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you first started that, solely you, no one else was involved when you started the actual brand? Like
Always, me and my friend Shaz started that in 2009, and now as he gets busy with his own business, we split, and I kind of took on that brand, and then invited my other friend Seto to join part of the company. Yeah. He's very onto the design and creative, like photography and all that. So I think it's a good addition.
Yeah,
to the company.
Because I see you guys have taken it to a different level now. It's more of like a more, I'd say, boutique designer streetwear.
Definitely, and that's the kind of like the as a streetwear brand, you kind of have to evolve as well.
Yeah,
and I've seen
that's right.
A lot of streetwear brands that I grew up with, A-Life, Undefeated, Obey, Rebel 8, they're kind of stuck in that sort of old school mentality, and they're struggling now. I'm hearing like Bobby Hundreds complaining about how shit the streetwear scene is. Well, it's not shit. You just haven't really progressed. Or you need to be able to progress with the market.
Yeah.
Because they went into the mass saturation way compared to Supreme, where they pulled back. Hence, hey, you can only get Supreme at Supreme stores. Yeah. Well, everyone else kind of like, hey, we want to distribute it everywhere. And that's, I think, where they went wrong.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I understand that fully. A lot of brands seem to go that way, and they just push it. They might make a lot of money, but it's not a longevity thing. Like, no. They're not thinking about where they're going to be in the next 20 years. They're thinking I can make this money in 6 years. Yeah, let's do it.
And then now we have another problem, because everyone wants to be Supreme. So it's like every brand's trying to be so exclusive where no one else can get the brands. So many good brands out there. Just like, where can you get this? Oh, you have to go to this store Noah, or you have to go to Dover Street Market, or you have to go wherever, to get that brand.
Yeah.
Which is exciting, but at the same time now there's so many competitions out there, so you have to be the best of the best. You have to bring something different
Yeah.
to the plate, which is super hard to do. It's like, as a brand, like, what hasn't been done?
Yeah, that's
Do you know
it.
what I mean? It's more like now, like, product placement on celebrities, where if celebrity's not wearing it, it's not gonna sell.
Yeah.
So it's now about, like, how do I get that celebrity wearing? How do I get A$AP Rocky? How do I get Kanye wearing it? So now there's, like, you see a lot of companies just actually focusing on celebrity placement. So the brands will pay them for service and be like, hey, I want the stylist to go and pick up these products so whoever their style can wear it. It could be Bella Hadid or it could be Kanye West. And that's became like such a thing now.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you had anyone in a like top ranking celebrity, or not top ranking, but just any celebrity wearing your stuff yet? Have you been like focusing on that at all? Or
Not really. Like, to be honest, it's not for us, is we never really envision.
Oh, so you're just saying this is what people
This
are
is
doing.
what people are doing. So
yeah,
a lot of
okay.
brands are doing. Like, for us, is we still just kind of wear things that we want to wear, and
Yeah.
like same time, want to wear things like we thought is cool. It's like, and people like, we don't want it to be too mainstream, and we don't want like a celebrity wear. If they want to wear it, cool, that's fine.
Yeah.
If they like it, if they really like what we do, then it's fine. But we're not actively trying to put it on a celebrity. I think it's more of like an LA brand kind of thing. A lot of brands in LA, they're just doing that. They're focusing solely on getting celebrities to wear it.
Yeah. Yeah, we see that so much on Instagram, and
so
it's like
much now.
flooded.
Yeah, every brand's like, this girl's wearing this guy's wearing this, and like, cool. But do you like the product?
Yeah.
And the
that's it.
question now is like, do you like the product, or just because that celebrity is wearing it?
I
Yep.
think. Oh,
And they're
can
probably
I-
just getting paid to do it, like, at the end of the day.
yeah.
Yeah, because celebrities just like, they just get free clothes, so they don't care.
Yeah.
For a photo, who cares? But then as a brand, it's like, man, that's a good way to market. They can sell like hundreds of that tee.
Yeah.
When Kanye's wearing it.
I find in Australia as well, like we're very like speaking of everyone as a whole, people are very like influenced by a celebrity, especially an American celebrity. I find
Sure.
mostly like is like, yeah, if someone in Australia that was like high up there, celebrity did that, they would really be like,
Yeah.
But like you get an American celebrity, especially a rapper, people just like flow like straight to that. That's all they want. Like,
Man, 100%. And that's became like our selling point too. Like, for us working at a shop, it's like, wow, you see Kid Cudi was wearing this shirt in Billboard cover. It became like a selling point, because the kids like so obsessed with it. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm wearing this. Like, Kanye wears this, I have to wear it too. Like Travis Scott just released this, I have to wear it too. Like, they're so obsessed with like looking like that. And that's the problem. Like, when we grow up, it's like we want to have like our own individual signature, right? So like, if you're wearing a hat like this, I'm wearing my hat like this.
yeah,
I'm wearing my hat like this. So like, we wear that hat until everyone knows, oh, that's how Edit wears a hat.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it became like a signature thing. And so you want to have a unique kind of take on it when you look at someone, the way they dress, and even the way, like, for me, it's like growing up through hip hop. It's like, man, everyone has a signature walk, a signature, style. It's like, we always talk about, man, style. It's like, you have to create your own identity. And so the whole time, it's like, as a b-boy or as a in hip-hop, you always want to create your own identity, and that's kind of really important for us. And nowadays, it's like, style is gone. Everyone's just mimicking each other's style. That's why it kind of annoys me when I get like influencers like A$AP Rocky saying, oh, I wear like what do you call it, rock and roll merchandise tee because for aesthetic reason, just not because I love the band or whatever. It's like, dude, that's kind of fucked up, you know what I mean? Because you teaching these kids, you can just adapt to any style you want, and it just very like shallow layer, if you like.
yeah,
Back then we were heavy metal shit, like we were Metallica because I love Metallica, like,
Yeah.
and every single song, and like, you just like diehard fan. But now you get like girls Metallica t-shirt, I'm like Iron Maiden t-shirt, I'm like, do you even know what you're listening to? Who know who they are? I was like, nah, it just looks cool. Like, great.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It just became like a stylistic aesthetic thing.
yeah,
And for me, it's like, growing up through breaking, through b-boying, there's so much deeper meaning in clothing. We used to roll one leg up, our left leg up. Like, when you see us wearing tracksuit, one leg is always up. You've probably seen b-boys in the 90s wearing that, or they're wearing Playboy Bunny tracksuit and stuff like that. And it's like, there's reasons why they wear one leg up, because back in the days in the Bronx, they used to ride a bike and they didn't want to get the baggy pants caught in the chain. So
Yeah.
one leg's always rolled up. So and it became a stylistic thing, and then you can tell about it. The reason why we wear mock neck because when we go clubbing, it looks fresh in the club, but at the same time you can break on the floor. It's slippery enough so you can do windmills on the floor. It had meanings, right? It's like, oh, we wear this because this. I'm like, man, everything has meanings. Nowadays, oh yeah, we wear it because it looks cool. So now I'm seeing like 100 kids dressing up like b-boys. All these brands like dressing up like b-boys. Like I'm seeing like Heron Preston, Off-White. They're doing this graffiti style aesthetic. Like, well, cool, but like, yeah, I guess like Virgil had a background in hip hop, but do everyone else now everyone else gonna adapt to that?
That's it.
Just kind of rock that look rather than like being proud of how they look.
I feel they're putting like the style instead of like going out and experiencing yourself and your life like as your choices through as a kid to create your own style. They're getting it on their computer screen, and then that's what they are.
Exactly.
They're not actually like, oh, I used to write graffiti, so I dress like this, or I used to break dance, so I dress like this.
Yeah.
There's nothing actually to it. It's just, like you said, it's like a shell.
The definitions of subcultures is becoming so vague now, so blurry now, where you can't really say, oh, he's a skater. Now girls look like skaters. They don't even skate. Like guys look at like hip hop rappers and they don't even rap. It's kind of like, yeah, the identity is lost now. Yeah. But it's all becoming such we're in a fast-paced fashion mode right now where everything's so fast. Looks becoming a trendy thing. I've seen customers coming in and out of the stores, and they look like a skate dude one season. Next season, they become like all dapper and like wearing button-ups and wearing dressy Chelsea shoes and stuff. It's like, what happened to your style? Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll wear shit different all the time, but it's always gonna be my way of doing it. Yeah. I'll wear a coat, but I'll wear it in like my own way of doing it. I wear a hat, I wear it different way, so people know I'm very consistent. Yeah. But like now, I feel like that's the kind of thing me and my friends always talk about. Like the generation's changing. I'm not hating it. I'm just saying, hey, it's different now. Yeah. It's like, hey, we're just gonna grow with it. We have to be like, we have to embrace it because the next generation is gonna be different. What's gonna be different from then? Yeah. You
don't want to get stuck behind like a lot of old brands and just general people. Like
that's a problem.
You want to be that old man, just being like, like grumpy, back in my day.
Yeah, exactly. It's always exactly same with music. The people who said, I hate the new music, man, you're hating the music. You're gonna be stuck in that era. Yeah. This way, you're gonna be stuck in your own bubble. There's so many good music out there. Yeah, so many trash, but like back in the days, there was a lot of trash too.
Yeah, but
do you know what I mean?
Like I said in this other interview, what we had, especially in Australia, was all like what was brought to us on like mainstream TV and radio. So we never had the internet, and they like, well, not we, but the oldest generation, they never had the internet, so they always seeing what the best is. Yeah. And they're not getting like pushed in their face what any kid that can put on SoundCloud or YouTube can do. Yeah. So it creates like that. There's a whirlwind of shit going on, and you got to pick, and you actually got to take time to be like, all right, I like this, I like that. There's a bunch of shit you don't like, but you might like 5 artists out of like 50. Like
100%.
Yeah. That's just how it's changing.
That's how it's changing. Like, there's so many good music now. Like, I'm going back into time where I'm listening to the 60s funk and even classical. It's like, wow, I'm missing out this era. If you're like kind of like stuck in that, a lot of my friends are, oh, I love the 90s hip hop. Like, dude, that's only like a decade. Yeah. There's like, we're in 2018 now. Do you know what I mean? There's like so much good shit like we haven't listened to. Yeah. Even then, there's so many like small bands, like underground bands and musicians that we haven't heard of before. Do you know what I mean? Like, how are you just gonna like this? That's just so shallow-minded in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with that. It seems to be like an ongoing trend to hate on the younger as well. And like they get classed as old head, but like, yeah, it is what it is. And like at the end of the day, if you want to be stuck, then don't adapt. Like,
oh man, 100%. I'm still learning from the kids. They come up, hey, have you heard of this song? I'm like, what? Show me. Because I'm keen. Like, I'm the worst with like musicians. Like, I don't know anyone. I'll bump into dudes. I'm like, who? What do you do? I'm like, oh, cool, you're a musician. But like, like they'll show me like, hey, listen to this. And I'm like, wow, I'm kind of digging it. So now I'm kind of like in the new music, where it's going and understanding the culture. Because if you don't understand the culture, then you wouldn't understand the fashion now. Then that go hand in hand. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're just hating on the culture now, that means you're hating the fashion now. That means you're never gonna progress. You're gonna stuck in that old ways.
And a lot of people are happy doing that, which is like good on them if they want to be that person. But yeah,
but you're gonna struggle. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna stuck there. Like, you tackling that old demographics. There's so many like new demographics you can like inspire still. Yeah.
So with Auris, or how do you say it?
All race. Yes.
All race. Yeah. So with that brand, when you started doing the designs and stuff, what influenced like that face with the to like the
Well-
old design, the old logo? With
When we came up with that, I actually drew that in 5 minutes because in my head there was the atom bomb by the Hundreds. Remember
Yep.
the Hundreds had the bomb logo, and we're like, man, we need like a character for the brand because we had our script logo, and we need like a face, you know, like. And in my head, man, what would represent us, our hip hop and sneakers, you know? And at the time we had the Jordan 4 Mars Blackman. It had the Mars Blackman character. It's a character by Spike Lee. So he was like involved in the marketing and advertising during the Jordan campaign. So Spike Lee is always wearing these gazelle glasses and big chain says Mars on it, and then like a Brooklyn hat that just flick that way and says Brooklyn on the hat. So that's kind of became the face. Oh man, a Spike Lee character. So we made a round shape with the yin yang, because yin yang with the 2 stars represent me and my business partner, and the stars represent us. We're like so different where we kind of balance each other.
Yeah.
And as the stars represent hip hop. So we just did that with the gazelle glasses and the Brooklyn cycling hat, and it became
dope.
like, it's like, man, that logo was still sick, and we need to do more of that, and people recognize that logo now.
Yeah. So did you have the sponsor side? Who did you sponsor back in the day?
We want to tackle, because for me it's like, if in hip hop, like I hate to do a brand that represents b-boys or breakdancers or hip hop, right? Because the guys in hip hop, we don't like wearing the brands that made for us.
Yeah.
We want to wear other brands that we can make it into hip hop.
Yeah.
So we're wearing like skate brands, we're wearing like a bunch of different brands, you know, and make it hip hop. So, and we want to tackle more the skaters. So we were hanging out with this guy, Mason, and Mason, we sponsor him because he was just winning a lot of comps. I'm like, man, this kid is sick.
Yeah, he kills
like,
it.
he was like, man, and he loves the brand too. So he wears it all the time. And then we had a DJ, Jamie Frank, you know, he DJs and he loves, his whole wardrobe is just all race, you know. So he always goes to the club, man, I'm DJing this. And at the time he just released the Flume and the Biggie collab, like mix match, and it went viral and everyone was playing it. It was actually really sick. I was like, dude. So he would be playing it and always wearing all race, and that's more like the mainstream kind of scene. In the underground scene, we had MC Truth. He's always just teaching kids and in rural areas, and like, you know, he's always like, man, like really representing the brand, and it's like really teaching the troubled youth about hip hop. And for us, that's us, you know, like, man, we're really not just tackling the skaters and the mainstream hip hop, but also the underground kids who need that attention, who need that to be looked after, and they love it when they wear our products and like they feel like they're part of something. We would go to like, you know, the indigenous community, and you should have seen like when they would give them free t-shirts, they'd just be like, they'd take off whatever they had on and they'd put our t-shirt on, like, yeah, they're so happy. And it just, you know, like, and that's kind of like the joy we like, you know, to see, just for appreciation, also like for the kids to kind of like, man, like representing the brand like that, and it has a deeper meaning than just selling t-shirts. You know, it's like, hey, let's make this a movement. Let's try to create a difference through this. That's what we, you know, initially we call all race, and like it's supposed to bring everyone in together.
No, that's sweet.
In a more abstract way, I guess.
So now with Cabinet Noir, is that correct?
Cabinet Noir.
Noir.
It's French for black room.
Yep.
So it's actually the name I came up with just because I like the color noir, black, and then cabinet, it just like sounds more high end. So we're like, oh yeah, black room, but it actually also has a meaning. It's a double meaning where back in the days during the French Revolution Day, I think King Charles the 13th or 14th, he had a movement called Cabinet Noir where they used to open suspicious letters. This office, the hidden office where they used to open suspicious letters before it get passed on to recipients. So there's nothing dodgy going on, and like I like the idea of being this kind of like secret movement and very Illuminati-esque, you know. So we're like, man, we want to do this. Like, we want to create this movement in Perth, and you know, create a sneaker store, a fashion store, where no one would know. It's kind of, but it's necessary to create that movement. So that's where we at. Location-wise, we're quite hidden, and you have to discover it, you know. And then we started that in 2013, and started off just doing a lot of basic streetwear, sneakers, to where we at now, luxury fashion now. So and it's good to see it's growing.
What would you say like is one of your biggest brands that you've pulled through the store in like something that you've admired the most?
Right. Like,
A brand that you didn't think you'd work with.
I've always had an admiration for Staple because Jeff Staple started all the sneaker culture thing.
Yeah.
We stocked the brand for a few years, but then after a while, like, hey, we want to go a bit more different route. We want to go a bit more high end because there's so many brands that I love getting when I'm traveling to Japan or New York, and then no one could get it in Australia. So we start hunting these brands that, we always loved. And the first brand to say yes to us was Comme des Garçons. And Comme des Garçons was such a dope brand. And then it opened a lot of doors to us. That from there we got Public School, and then we got Off-White, Undercover. So all these brands that we loved growing up, Human Made, Stone Island and all that, So, and every brand allows us to get better brands, So now we curate the brands in a particular way that we also trying to target a huge demographic rather than a small demographic.
Yeah.
And, I think one of the customers explained, kind of like gave us the best feedback about the store, actually. He was like, man, this store, Cabinet Noir, doesn't dictate what I wear. So when he comes in, you can just wear whatever. You can find your own niche. You can find your own look. You can find your own style. And that's very important for us.
Yeah.
So we don't just give you one look. So you come in, you can rock up as you can wear like a dapper suiting or sportswear, streetwear, menswear.
Yeah.
So what do we feel like?
Yeah, that's good. That's good that you have a wide variety because I find a lot of niche stores end up targeting one style for whatever that season is, and it's only that.
Yeah.
And it's nothing really like too broad, so you can't really just go in and not be in that sort of scene or whatever. Like at least you have like a bunch of different styles.
So we even tackle like skate brands as well. Because a lot of guys I like skate brands. Like I grew up with wearing Supreme and all that. Yeah, I can skate a little bit, but I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a skater.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it's like we grew up. We have like a representation. Like you look at Supreme, it's like, man, the name's cool. Supreme. It's kind of like, such a cool, strong name, and we want to represent, want to be affiliated with that. And I think nowadays a lot of kids want to be affiliated to that as well.
Yeah.
So we trying to tackle as much sort of as wider demographics as we can.
Yeah. So you would say that your main influence would be Hundreds, possibly, like that would be your main influence, sort of thing.
Well, as from a brand point of view, yes.
Yeah.
But as a store, very much influenced by Dover Street Market, Colette, what they've done, Broken Arm, and on all these stores like Kith.
Yeah.
So they've
Kith's got a cool story.
Yeah, so they've built up this huge pyramid. That's kind of like what we're trying to achieve too. Coming out of Australia, it's kind of hard to bring a name out of Australia. Some people don't even know where we are. Perth, it's like, where's Perth?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like really hard to like. I travel out to Paris and they'll be like, oh, I know your store, Cabinet Noir, but where's Perth? They don't know where it is. I'm like, so it's kind of funny. Yeah, you know us, but you don't know where we are.
Yeah.
So, but it's kind of cool. It's a cool challenge, I guess. Like for us to like, hey, we want to put us.
It's gonna mean a lot more in the end, I feel.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a lot more like, you're not in that like circle of like cities that are so famous for their.
I think there's so much going
style.
on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Making a name for Perth as well with the creative scene, fashion scene.
100%. Awesome. Like I was telling people, it's like, you go to Melbourne, Sydney, the layout's there, foundation's there, but Perth is a blank canvas, so you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And there's no one going to judge you. Like, we've got so many creatives here, musicians, artists, like cool brands.
I'm going to go tell them to shut up. And tell them to shut the fuck up, eh? Jesus. Yeah, keep going.
So, I think there's like so many creatives out here in Perth. Do you know what I mean? Like so many cool artists, and we have a lot of actors coming out of Perth as well. So people don't even know half this shit. Like I've been saying, yeah, Heath Ledger's from Perth. I'm like, what? Like the trip out.
Yeah.
And just small things like that.
There's a lot of like talent here. It's just not put onto a. It's not put onto a platform really, and like you can't get everything from one spot.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I'm hoping with this podcast to put shine onto like a lot of like emerging talents or people that have been doing it.
Yeah.
Just to give just to give like a bit more of like a, you know, if you don't know much about Perth, like you can look at this and this will show you a bit like going on.
Oh man, 100%. I think what you're doing is great. You bring creatives in together, and just creating awareness of what, you know, I guess with what you're doing, creating awareness. Hey, there's hunger for creatives trying to link up together, you know, because we need to help each other out.
Yeah,
you know, we're such a small community, and you know, but that's also gonna be a challenge for you, I guess, and like, because a lot of creatives like, no, we're doing our shit and you're doing your stuff. You know, well, it should be, hey, cool, what you're doing is cool. Let's collaborate and let's try and make it bigger. Let's try to create an impact.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many, like, a lot of my friends trying to do that but just don't know how to do it. You know, and it's good. Like you doing like this. I think it will connect everyone up.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah. When you started doing your breakdancing and your competition was of that, like, did you travel anywhere with that, or was it just?
Yes, actually, I spent probably my 20s traveling and dancing.
Yes.
And I was just kind of like, you know, had not a lot of money and just traveling and just seeing the world. It was kind of like cool to link up with. So this is what I love about b-boying, right? B-boys. Last time we went to New York, just the way we dress, and you just saw obviously we're b-boys, the way we walk. And then we get b-boys like out in the street. Yo, you guys b-boys? I'm like, yeah. Like, all right, cool. You're hanging out with us. Like an hour later, we'll be just graffitiing the wall, you know, like smoking blunts. And then, you know, we just became like good buddies. Do you know what I mean? Just because of the way we dress. And it's such a tight community. It's like, yo, you're crashing in mine. Next minute, we're crashing theirs. And I can go to anywhere, any city in the world. Like, b-boys is so tight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because we're so rare. Like, there's not a lot of us. So when we see each other, it's kind of like, wow, what, you do this too?
Yeah.
You know, well, we're going to be homies. We're going to look after you. Same thing. If people come to Perth, like you b-boys, like, we're going to look after you. We're going for drinks and, you know, we take them out. We make sure they have a good time.
Yeah.
You know, everywhere we go, Miami, there's always friends. I can go to any city and you'd be like, b-boys, like, want to link up to b-boys, go to the practice spot. Next minute, we're out with them every night.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like a super tight community. You can't really say that to, I guess, like, rappers or, you know, like if you're a dancer.
That's a bit too
right?
it's
Even the
too
writing
surface
scene as
level.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very. It's like
It's all, I think, for like, even though hip hop's a subculture, like graffiti and b-boying is the lower part where it's more unique.
100%.
So you do respect someone that's actually doing the same thing you are, because it's not as
it's not as popular, and just kind of, we're so excited to see.
Is it the dog under you?
Yeah, so it's like, so it's kind of cool, man. It's kind of like super tight group, you know. I'm still catching up with my friends. Like, we talk about, hey, remember 10 years ago we're in LA and you're crashing on the floor. It's like 8 of us on the floor. German's like, oh yeah, I remember that. And we still keep in touch. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, even though I haven't seen them for like 10 years, but we just kind of like, hey, once you create that bond, it's like that bond is forever.
Yeah, that's
and that's kind of like cool to see from that dance. I mean, that's like probably the best thing about, you know, that subculture, I guess.
Yeah. No, I have a lot of respect for b-boying, because, like, honestly, never hear about it. Like, it's a very non-spoken topic in the hip-hop community, and, like, it's still going on. It's just,
and it sucks, because if you learn the history of hip-hop, we were the stars of hip-hop.
Yeah.
Do you know, before the MCs came out, the b-boys back in the days in New York was like, each DJ has their b-boys, and the b-boys are like, rock up. They're like the superstars. They dance on the floor. It's like, oh my God, that's that crew. Only later on, when the MCs came out, you know, and it's like, oh shit, they can sell this, you know, this product to sell. Well, b-boys, you can't really sell your dance.
Yeah.
So there's like, that's why we always stay in the background, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, whether you hate or love it, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But, you know, we would start the whole scene. Even now, like, a lot of, if you look at Run DMC, they had a lot of respect for b-boys. Look at Tribe Called Quest, you know, they had a lot of they dress up like b-boys as a homage. You know, it's like, this is how my mentors dress up, which are the b-boys, which were the b-boys, and like they look up to these b-boys or the DJs, you know, which you don't really hear a lot of nowadays. You know, like
well, that's the whole thing with the progression.
Yeah, exactly, because I guess that's the way hip hop is growing into this mainstream train. But yeah, it's like so it's kind of refreshing to see this looks coming back in again, you know, and I'm seeing like everyone's like, cool, like you rocking mock neck now. Wow, cool. You're wearing this now. You're wearing that 90s puffy, like, you know, jacket and stuff like that. So it's cool to see the aesthetic coming in, but the story's lost, the context lost.
Yeah.
So now I'm always saying like, hey, fashion's got no context now. It's aesthetic, purely aesthetic. But that's just the way it is.
That's it, yeah. Well, that's another thing with the whole, with being a b-boy and not being like, so you can't represent yourself through your rap or you can't represent yourself through your flow.
Mm-hmm.
You do the style, like is that you were saying before, with like how you dress, how you walk into the room, how your style is with your dance. That's really the only way you communicate yourself through to people. Like you're not out there saying like a massive speech or nothing. So
man, it's like there was a saying me and my friends like, man, we're going club, we're going out tonight, we're going to a party. And then the way you dress has to be so outstanding, right? So you rock up you can just imagine a crew of us going through the door, and we want to turn everyone's heads.
Yeah.
They're like, holy shit, these guys like mean business.
Yeah.
When they come in, everyone just stop. That's kind of like the impact that we want to create. So when we come in, we just dress super extra, you know what I mean? And that's kind of like, and also tells you your rank. Yeah. As you get better in your dance, or as you get better in hip hop, like as you get more famous in hip hop, people would know your aura is different, your charisma is different. You step in, everyone's like, holy shit, like everyone just spreads, and kind of, so that's kind of like,
that's cool.
That's really cool to have. When you just have that confidence, like, man, like I'm the shit, like that's the kind of like the power you have, because you're understanding now, hey, this is the way I dress, but I've got a lot of context within me. I have a lot of deep and meaningful stuff inside of me that you can see from the outside. If you're interested, you could find out about me. That's the kind of communication expression through your clothing. That's what we like, what we kind of like impress people with, like, man. And I love that. Every time I grew up watching all the older guys, like, man, they dress up so cool. Like, I want to be like that guy. I want to be like him. And you dress up like your mentors or the guy who kind of inspired you in a way. It's like, oh, he wears it like this. I need to be like this. I want to wear my hat like him. I want to talk. I want to like, I want to walk like him. It's like, and it became like, as you get older, as you get better with it, you're starting to develop your own style. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you start knowing, oh, okay, that's it, or that's him, or whatever. Yeah, that's really cool.
With your store, where do you want to take that to?
We want to take that globally. Yeah. So we want to have this kind of, the store, I see it more like a platform for not just creators, but also like, I've always wanted to make the store to make a change, not just like selling clothes, but like creating something positive, helping the kids or helping the troubled youth, or something that's like a lot deeper than just creating, making big money.
Yeah.
For me, it's just like we want to inspire everyone. Just really, really trying to, build this business globally so we can actually help more people and get more people involved. Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, that's cool. And with Auris, I keep been fucking it up. So
as in all race, as in like all races. Yeah.
Okay, all race. Yeah. Sorry. With that, are you planning on making that? Do you want to do that into a different, like it's personal store, or are you just planning?
To be honest, we still enjoy just having that brand really small.
Yeah.
I don't want to like that brand is still like, for me, it's still a hobby brand. It's not even a proper brand. I wouldn't say it proper because we don't do 2 to 4 collections a year. We just do injections every time when we feel like it. Hey, we feel like doing this look, or we feel like doing this theme, and we just kind of inject it in there. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then it sell out, and then we get guys like, when are you gonna release? And like, well, when we feel like it. You know what I mean? Cabinet Noir, on the other hand, is the other brand, so in-house brand. We're trying to push that onto the next level, and we want to be more consistent with it.
Yeah.
It just right now it's a little bit difficult to juggle all the work, because we're such a small crew, and it's so hard to kind of like do everything at once. Yeah. So it's still kind of like growing brand, I guess, but we want to take that globally as well, start distributing and like try and put into different key stores around the world.
Yeah, that's sweet. When you first started at like a young age of doing the, like say with Auras, for like someone that's not involved in like the clothing thing, what would you say would be like something that like you would say that gives your brand content, like besides the breakdancing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so what would you say to someone that wanted to start a brand and wanted to become something that's like that they're unsure about what they actually have to offer? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I reckon the best way is just do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? A lot of people just talk about, like, a lot of kids come up to me and say, hey, I want to start my own brand. Cool. It's like, and then telling me all these ideas. I'm like, well, just do it.
Yeah.
They're just telling me all these ideas, but like they're too scared to take their first step.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to learn as well.
The only way. Yeah, because it's like, look, make T-shirts. They're cheap to make. If your
Yeah.
friends gonna support you, that means you're doing well. Do you know what I mean? If none of your friends or family gonna wear it, then well, maybe you should think about redesigning or think about something else. Do you know what I mean? Like first of all, like I started off because I want my friends to wear my T-shirts, my designs, and then when I realized, holy shit, like a lot of people want to wear my stuff, then it became a brand. And you start small first, but then if no one else wants to wear it, and then it's not gonna be a brand, So
Yeah.
there's gonna be a problem. But there's no risk. You keep trying. If it doesn't work, man, try again. Maybe try a different look, try a different design, try a different name, try different branding, try a different method of marketing. There's so many things you can do. Like T-shirts, so easy, and everyone can start a brand. Literally, you just buy T-shirts and print it and design it. It take 5 minutes to do,
Yeah.
and yeah, I reckon just test it out.
It's taking that first step will get you
Mhm.
going in the right direction anyway.
Yeah. The thing is, the key is consistency, and if you're hungry enough to achieve it, a lot of people give up because they think, oh, I want to be like famous doing this brand, I want to be this designer, and then they don't see the journey into that stage. And like, well, you have to understand it's not.
Yeah, there's levels.
It's a hard work. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm still seeing big designers struggling. A lot of big designers. I mean, look at Yoji. He went bankrupt. And his Yoji Yamamoto. He's like one of the greatest designers ever. So no one is safe. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone's still trying to new things. Raf Simmer's still trying to design and reinvent himself some way.
Yeah.
Kim Jones started to reinvent himself. Virgil is trying to reinvent himself. So I reckon just give it a shot. Keep trying.
Yeah.
You just gotta know this is not a glamorous lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's hard if you don't come from a rich family or like have celebrity friends. This is not gonna be fun and game. Like I mean, a lot of these guys who have their brands, they have a lot of connections and network. Virgil didn't have it easy, but he has it pretty easy compared to everyone else. He's got a head start. He knows Kanye. He's friends with all these celebrities, and he was hanging out with all these DJs, and he's got money to back it up. So, do you know what I mean? So he's got a head start compared to someone else who wants to start from scratch. So I look at all these guys from my days where guys like Bobby Hundreds and Benny Gold and all these streetwear brands back in the days, they literally start from the ground up. That's kind of like the brands that I give it a lot of respect.
Yeah.
So nowadays is that era where, hey, you need money and connections to become big, and that's the name of the game.
Yeah.
Look at Kylie Jenner with the makeup. She made $1 billion so quickly. I mean, he's got the whole Jenner and Kardashians helping her out. Of course, she's gonna make $1 billion. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It would be stupid not to make that much money, right? So, with all the connection on the friends wearing, using the makeup. So now it's like a lot harder for people to start a brand if you don't have, I guess, that money. But if you're hungry enough, if you're motivated enough, you can make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sweet. So have you had much experience about the fashion weeks that go on around the world?
Yes and no. Like I learned a lot of fashion being in the industry. I came in with zero experience. I've only had retail experience. Only then, we're probably one of the first stores to start traveling, doing Paris Fashion Week, Japan Fashion Week, and all that. But that taught me a lot. Taught a lot about different markets and how our market is so different to everyone else.
Yeah.
Like we tried to bring a lot of brands, a lot of products, but didn't work for our market. And that's the lessons we learned. And there's a lot of mistakes along the way.
Yeah.
But I think, through traveling, it's, everyone's on the same boat. I'm meeting a lot of buyers, a lot of designers. They're trying to figure out what's going on with the market. They're trying to figure out what's the next latest trend going to be, what's going to be the biggest hits. We all trying to figure it out, in a sense. And that's what makes it interesting, we're all trying to figure it out. No one got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of trial and error. Yeah. That's pretty cool, but it's a very interesting way to actually learn to understand the market and whatever you're trying to go for, and is target that audience without seeming like you're too loose ended. Do you know what I mean? Like you really want to have a target audience.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So with your creative influences in your Cabinet Noir store, it was. Can you repeat those stores that you said before?
So we've got, I look up to stores like, Kith, the Dover Street Market is probably like my favorite place. It's like a mini
Whereabouts
department.
is that?
Dover Street Market is owned by Comme des Garçons.
Yeah.
And they start off in Japan, the Japanese brand.
Is that brand Comme des Garçons? Is that Japanese?
It's Japanese too,
Okay.
yeah, with a French name.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, it's designed by Rei Kawakubo, which is the goddess of fashion. You know, she's so influential, and she's actually the one who brought Yohji Yamamoto up. So Dover Street Market is their store, and it's a multi-brand store. The only multi-brand stores, or one of the only multi-brand store that carry Supreme, Gucci, Balenciaga, and all these crazy brands. You have the
That's
top end,
amazing.
yeah, and then the, you know, streetwear end as well. It's like, yeah, that store is just so well curated. It's like going to a museum of fashion, really.
Yeah.
You got Kith from New York. They're doing their own New York thing, you know, with sneakers and
Yeah.
streetwear. They're a massive empire as well. Colette, unfortunately, Colette, probably one of my favorite stores, but they're shut down. After 20 years, they needed a break, and which is fair. They've been one of the best stores, if not the best store in the world for a while, and it's located in Paris. You know, everyone was sad when Colette shut down because it influenced so many different stores.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few other stores that really influence me, but I think, you know, yeah, those guys really like led the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know, like, would you plan to, like, or do you visit, like, Japan, and, like, have you visited Korea? Because apparently their scene is really popping at the moment, like, their fashion
Yeah, of
scene.
course. Like the Korean scene is insane now. Like a lot of brands like Ada Era, Junjae, they're really popping. And Korea's we used to look at Japan for new things, but now like the Japanese looking for Korea for new things.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like everyone else when Japan's looking to Korea, everyone else kind of like, what is stuff going on in Korea? And now Korea's really like killing it with their design, and they're not afraid to take a risk.
Yeah.
Well, everyone else staying safe. Koreans kind of like, you know what, we're still gonna take a risk. I mean, Japan, there's still some like dope brands coming out of Japan, but Korea, I think, starting to make a noise. And a lot of scenes coming up. Even China's making noise now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Chinese designers popping out of nowhere. You know, like Sanquans, and you know, we got Xander Chow and all that. They're really trying to like establish themselves. And now you get a lot of Western customers not afraid to wear these Asian brands. You know, whilst before it's like, no, these brands only worn by Japanese. These brands only worn by Koreans. Now you start seeing the Westerners wearing, you know, representing. You see like Rihanna wearing Sanquan's T-shirt and stuff like.
Yeah.
What? That's pretty dope, you know.
I reckon it's awesome that basically everyone gets their clothes made almost there, like over that, like in Japan, China. It's great that they're using what they have to offer the world, and
Yeah.
they're using their people that are actually the ones that are creating most of the clothes that are going through this like universe. These dudes are the ones that are doing it, and now they've actually taken like it's probably been happening for a while, but it hasn't surfaced to like the mainstream till like I reckon maybe what you reckon like 3 years ago.
Yeah, probably like even, you know, just not even probably 3, probably 2 or even a year ago, it's just starting to pop out, you know, and, because of the social media is so strong, and I'm seeing, you know, big platform like Hypebeast and Heist and Body, like whatever they put, people are starting to take notice, and it's such a big thing now, in a good and a bad way, because you no longer discover brands, but it's more like you being told what brands to look at. You know, it's kind of like, yeah, you're dictated by these social media platforms. Like, hey, this brand's cool, and you kind of like a lot of guys being sheep. You know, it's like, oh, if they say it's cool, that means it's cool.
Yeah.
But like, hey, do you actually like the brand? You know, you're no longer questioning that anymore. You're kind of like, oh, I guess it's cool if I wear it because the other kid's gonna think I'm cool.
Yeah.
You know, for wearing it. But yeah, that's just the part of the ways to utilize the social media. If your brands are featured in there, then you know you might get an instant hit.
Have you taken much like time to really like look into your social media, or have you actually just pushed what your store is actually producing, like, and just push the level of photography and all that to the point where it's like hard not to just click on it and have a look?
Well, we always trying to like challenge our you know, I always challenge my photographer and the creative director and stuff to kind of how do we create a different editorial than everyone else? How do we make it more interesting? How do we create it so it goes well with the collection? Because every collection is telling a story. So we'll look at the collection. All right, this collection is about this. So let's shoot it here. Let's shoot it this way and that way. Obviously, we have a limited budget, and like big stores and big brands have like these budgets to play around with.